Hello, my name is Lance, and I'll be your dueling instructor. Today's lesson is on deck building. Deck building is an intensive and integral skill that many new players struggle to grasp. Even seasoned veteran players can struggle with deck building based on a strategy or meta. Deck building is finding the most optimal and powerful construction of a strategy. Don't confuse this with deck variation. Deck variation is when a strategy has multiple different takes on its construction. An example of that would be the multitude of DPE scythe lockout decks that were popular some time ago. The core strategy was always the same, even when the cards that were used to achieve the strategy changed. Deck building is about selecting the cards that can allow your strategy to flex and become more expansive. In this example of deck building, we'll be referencing the Tinyi Sword Soul deck. Tinyi is a strategy all its own, but because of its reliance on Weird monsters, the deck has explosive synergy with Sword Soul. That leads some players to lean more heavily into the Tinyi or the Sword Soul portions. Some players ran Heavenly Dragon Circle, which acted as an out to Mystic Mine. However, other players use Vessel of the Dragon Cycle, which can be used to push through interruptions. It's in making these choices that a player can become proficient in deck building, knowing what keys are for what locks, the sort of thing that comes with experience. That's why I generally suggest that new players focus less on their deck building and more on their play. It takes very little to find a list online with some top and build the same list. It's an entirely different skill set to be able to understand and utilize each card in a list, which is a very big distinction I'd like to make. Deck building and piloting a deck are different. They are core aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or any TCG really, but they are not the same skill. Take your time when it comes to deck building, and always assume there's a reason for every card when it comes to analyzing other lists. Also, feel free to ask players at locals their opinions when it comes to deck building. Most other players have no issues with explaining their strategies or decks. Utilize this to your advantage. Alright, that's going to wrap up this lesson. Now get out there and duel.